Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to the Dumb Dad Podcast. My name is Kevin, and I'm a dumb dad.
And my name is Evan, and I'm a dumb dad. And on today's episode, Kevin is going to tell us that when your wife goes away for the weekend, best thing to do is just let it breathe.
Nice. And on this podcast, Evan helps his son with his car work. Cheers.
Cheers. A nice Topo Chico.
For those watching, Evan and I are not celebrating a milestone in this podcast. We're just coming from somewhere. Just wearing a nice button down and
We're dressed
shirt.
up. Yeah, we're dressed up a little bit for a sort of halfway non-visual media. But you can also watch the podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
Go to youtube.com/thedumbdads and consume our podcast visually.
But we went to an event for the Creator Society, who are our managers.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
It was fun. It was down at a little rooftop bar somewhere down in Hollywood, which we're lucky enough to be close enough to. Took forever to get down there, but
we
fun.
can be going to rooftop bars in LA, and what do? We just find other parents and talk about our kids.
Talk about our kids, that's right. Put a nice shirt on and go talk about your kids somewhere else, and then come on home and enjoy a Topo Chico.
Yeah.
They had nice cocktails there. I appreciated that. And we had a little mini burger slider. That was good.
Great dinner.
That was the dinner. I actually think that's all I ate. Was
I
a
have
mini
more
slider.
of a dinner when I'm eating what's left on my kid's plate.
Than what we had tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it happens.
No, it's a good time. It was a good time.
We could use it.
We could use it. I will say, speaking of our kids, speaking of doing content creation, this all kind of melds into it, because I talked about it a little bit on the last week's podcast, but it was all kind of happening again this week. We real quick for people who don't know, when you do content creation, obviously you get reached out by brands ahead of time about upcoming holidays, events, whatever.
Sure.
We're starting to get reached out by people for back to school stuff.
Yeah.
Which is always weird when they're still in school. But my PTA also was like, this week we are like made the schedule for next year's school year.
Yeah.
And we're voting on it this week. And it's just a lot of like, can I have a minute?
Hold on. I'm going to read you a text. Hold on. My wife sent this text to me. This is yesterday. I need to clear it with her, but I need to post this in stories of like texts from work. This is a text my wife sent me from her office.
Okay.
I'm doing some basic calendar work for next year at work, and I just looked up the days and I'll need to take off based on the kids' known school schedules so far, and found our son, his culmination, graduating from 5th grade. The date, and now I'm crying at work because our baby's almost in the middle school, which means he's basically an adult and leaving us forever, and I hate it all. Yep. It's like, yeah, that feeling sneaks up on you a lot as a parent, and it's because of how much pre-planning is done or expected that you don't really. It's like when people are like, this year the biggest topic, my son's in 4th grade, and it's a little precursor. My son's in 4th grade. And
yeah, it was right after 3rd, right? Just trying to help.
I think so. I haven't looked into that.
Yeah, you weren't present for that one.
He's in 4th grade now. He's in 5th grade next year, but our elementary school ends at 5th grade. So all I'm meaning to say, when I was a kid, middle school was 7th and 8th grade.
Same. I think that's where. I don't know that's what's when you were a kid. I think it's just where. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just meaning here it's 6th, 7th, and 8th. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, like, the hot topic, still considering next year he has a full year of elementary school. The hot topic this year has been like, what middle schools are you looking into? Have you applied? Have you toured? How many have you toured? What was your impression of the schools? Like, that's a whole thing. And it brings me back to like when your kid is like 5 seconds old and they're like, what preschools have you applied to? Because if you haven't done it now, you're not getting in. And it's this whole thing you're not thinking about. It's like, he's in 4th grade.
Joke's on you. I'm a stay-at-home dad. We're not going to do preschool.
Yeah.
Nice try. It is funny. I will say that they talk about everything going so fast. And I know the younger years go fast, but like nothing's going on. Those first couple of years, you're not doing much. No. You're just kind of going to the zoo over and over again.
You're watering the plant.
Yeah. And even when they're up and walking and talking, when you're in those early years, especially as a stay-at-home parent, it's a lot of like the zoo, the playgrounds, it's
and if you're at home, it's don't
story
grab
time.
that, don't grab that, don't
story
grab
time,
that, we don't grab that, we don't touch that, we don't grab that.
The rotation.
Yeah.
And sure, that does go fast. All of it objectively goes fast, but it definitely goes faster when you're talking to me about next year now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The pre-planning is a bit excessive at times.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. They have to. They're grown-ups and I'm not. I understand you got to think past tomorrow's lunch.
Which is difficult to do when you're a dumb dad. But here we are.
You're locking down that name. Doing what we can.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny feeling to think of. What do they say? The days are long, the years are short. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that really, you really do feel that a lot. I mean, I was at a friend's house this weekend. It was Mother's Day weekend, this past weekend. And we were fortunate enough. Now, our wives were out of town. So we'll get to those dumb dad moments in a minute.
Yeah. And we will.
I know we both have a couple, at least, probably.
You're
probably going to fit. I brought two. I have two.
Yeah, sure.
But I could talk about more. But
sure.
And that's not necessarily because their wives are out of town. It's just circumstantial stuff.
Certainly doesn't help.
Certainly doesn't help. But and not that we rely on our wives to run the whole. We don't need to do all that. We were nice enough. Our friends that have a pool invited us. It's been warm here recently, and they invited us over. And my friend, she's turning 40, and she was talking about how she's like this year, and she's like doesn't feel like it's. She's like, I'm not ready. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And she's like, and then we started talking about being 50 and in your 50s. Like, she's not even 40, and she was like talking about being in her 50s and how scary that thought is, let alone turning 40.
Sure.
And of course, right. And both of our sons are 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, just think about this, though, like how yesterday our sons were born is really what it feels like a lot of times.
Uh-huh.
My son's 10. I can remember the feeling and the moment where I was, when he was born 10 years ago. But if you really consider...
can't find your coffee.
But I can't find my coffee.
Interesting.
On a daily basis. See, the dynamic of parenting is quite substantial.
Sure.
But if you really consider all of the little moments stacked upon each other and all of the little experiences and moments and things that have gone by in the last 10 years, it feels like longer than 10 years in some ways.
Sure.
Right? Because it's been a lot. There's been a lot of experience and growth and that has happened within the 10 years. So it's the same feeling. The days are long, the years are short. In that, like, I started to consider it even after we had this conversation on the way home. And it's like, man, this is crazy. Like, he's 10 and he's still a little kid. He's still only 10. But it also feels like he was born yesterday. But it also feels like, man, there's been a lot has happened in 10 years. It's like exponential growth and experience and on both sides of the coin, in the last 10 years. So I don't know. It's something that it's funny. Like we talk about, and you're not wrong, that it makes it feel like it's a lot faster when you're talking about it's like in-depth conversations about things that are yet even to come more than a year from now.
Yeah. But that can drive you crazy.
It can drive you crazy because you can kind of get caught in that.
Yes.
Doing that a little bit too much, I think.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know. I don't know. As chapters come to an end, like a school year.
Okay.
Those feelings come about, I think. Birthdays and New Year's and, those kinds of things make you consider what has gone by. And so you consider those things, what things yet to come and how much time has gone by. But it also feels like, gosh, it goes by so fast because it's easy to get caught in the daily routine, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I
Sucks.
mean, it's man. It's all bull.
It's propaganda. They want you to believe one thing. You don't need to do it.
Yeah, it's all very interesting. I was talking to my daughter about it today, since we're just talking about life, getting old or whatever. Because my daughter was just like making.
Your daughter's talking about getting older.
She was talking about how she's like not excited about turning 10. And I think because she probably knows with that comes eventually she's going to leave her school. I think she was just having thoughts.
Yeah.
And I told her the same thing that I've said probably on this very podcast, which is you know, I told her a lot of people ask, what's your favorite age? That's a question you get regularly as a parent. What's your favorite age? Is it 2?
Of like what your kids' favorite age?
Of your kids. No, they're like, what's your favorite age? And I was like, man, 27 was fire. And 27 was, I was still like immortal.
Yeah, I could consume anything at any time of the day.
And wake up at 7.
And go to work.
I didn't. I still woke up late. But I could have.
By his choice.
No, but I told her, you know, everybody. A lot of parents ask that. It's a big question. What's your favorite age? Is it 2? Yeah. Is it 5? Is it 7? Yeah. And I said, I've told them and will tell them and continue. Well, until you're a teenager, we'll continue to tell them that it's now. My favorite age is now.
It's always now. It's always now.
Yeah, because one, don't really remember the other ages. I see a video and go. Well, because you don't. You remember all the best stuff, but they all have like their hang-ups with them. You know what I mean? You're going to say like, yeah, if you really remembered all of 5, just what perfect games every day? No, absolutely not. There was some stressful days, but there were some good moments with it. Why I like today best and will always be my favorite age is because it's more discovery than if I go back to 5, because I know 5 is fun because X, Y, Z. They all had their perks, and they were my favorite at the time. But what's more fun about this? And I was telling her, what was fun about you turning 1 was you learned to walk. What's fun about you, turning 2 was you were, playing around with like your fine motor skills got better, tricycles, things like that, and then just got better and better and better. And I told her, now you're playing baseball. And she's like, I could have played baseball when I was 6. I was like, you're right. You would have been terrible. Or you definitely wouldn't have been good as you are now. And like she played baseball last night. Don't recommend it. Monday night baseball. Don't need that in my life. Had a baseball game Monday night. Nope. Didn't want that. Anyway, her first at bat, she hit her home run. I was like, you would have maybe done that at 6, but it would have been like, I would never have been like, that's my daughter's first home run. I'd have been like, there was children falling over each other. You didn't touch second. You went from first to pitcher's mound to third to home to first again.
Yeah, we kind of just said, all right, let her wander. Let her have fun, the touching home plate. Let's move on.
I was like, you legitimately got a home run where you hit it far enough in the outfield. The kids like really were trying to feel that you ran the bases and you got back before they could get it to the stopping point of the pitcher. Like you got a home run. Even if there was a catcher, you would have got a home run. Like that was fun. I was like, so that's like my favorite now is the discovery. And everybody's just trying to make me plan ahead. And I'm like, leave me alone.
I mean,
leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it. I 100%
agree with you that it's always going to be the now because it's always everything else in consideration that has led you up to now, right? I mean, it's like you don't get to now without having gone through however old they are. Every day with them, working on yourself, like everything. You don't get to, you can't appreciate the now without having earned that experience.
Yeah.
All that to say. Again, let me just reiterate. I totally agree with you. That's my answer.
Great, we got your answer. What's the
my secondary answer is sort of living through other parents who I see have little kids. Because at the same time, I will also say it's hard to realize your favorite moment when you're in those moments. Those moments are just your day-to-day life. Yeah. It's so difficult, at least for me. I wish I was better at this maybe, of like stepping way outside of the moment and appreciating the timestamp, I guess. Mm-hmm. I mean, I really do try to appreciate things every day, and I feel as though I do. But I also think like hindsight is something that cannot be observed in the moment. That's why it's hindsight, right? Mm-hmm. But when I see other parents...
It means butt looks.
Yeah. When I see other parents with kids in the 2 to 3 range, I find myself really admiring, like, watching those kids, like, operate. Because they're just outside of, I can't do anything for myself at all.
Yeah.
But they're entering into, I can pretty much do everything myself.
Yeah.
At 2.5 years old.
Sure.
We can have full conversations. I can get stuff myself. I can play by myself. But they can't. That's the thing.
Right.
That's what's so fun about it. Like my friend I was talking about, her kid had like just turned 2, and he's hilarious because he is just jovial all the time about stuff because he's able to like consume the world a much more of a conscious rate than like a 1-year-old is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like he thinks like, finally I can talk, and we're all talking. You know, I'm talking to you. We're talking to me. I'm talking to him and talking to you. But he's like, he can probably say, I mean, I don't know if they're a kid well enough, but let's say he can say like 30 words or 50 words. But that's not that many. When you're talking about having a full conversation with a 2-year-old kid, but they're talking to you with a full gusto, like, yeah, we're talking. And you're just a lot of head nodding. Yeah. Not sure what you're saying to me, buddy. But like that, like, unbridled confidence of the world at like a 2-year-old is like so funny to me. I think that's also why I love characters in film and television, like or just in general. Like I love a character who maybe like isn't very intelligent but plays to the height of their intelligence. And then you really find that in like a toddler who's like, yeah, we're all the same.
Yeah.
You know,
equal footing.
Equal footing. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And so again, my answer's now, but like, I really love interacting with those kids a lot.
Yeah.
Like when they're, you know, when they're just like, yeah, bro, I get it. You're like, you don't at all. But your attitude is that you do. And I love that.
So your answer is your kid's not right now at 2 or 3.
No, my kids are so annoying right now. I wish they were 2 years old again. Wish I could go back, hindsight, you know, the whole thing. Yeah, no, but that,
I love changing the sheets.
Yeah. But yeah, just had Mother's Day weekend this past weekend.
Let's get into it. Dumb dad moments.
Dumb dad moments are coming in hot. And yeah, a mutual friend of ours is getting married this year. And
shout out Sarah.
Rodba. And her bachelorette weekend, like this past weekend.
Yeah.
And when she announced it, it was funny because it was like, oh, my wife was like, oh, it's Mother's Day weekend. And then I'm sure your wife a little bit was like,
yeah,
okay, I don't know how I feel about that. But then ultimately it was like, actually, I think I kind of love that. It was funny, too, when I was at my friend's house, there was another mom there, and they were asking her, well, where's your wife? And I was like, oh, she's away. And they were like, oh, good for her.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I mean, they instantaneously celebrated her for getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And they were like,
pretty regular move.
I love that. I love that for her. And I was like, yeah, it's great. And they were like, and look at you. You're holding it down. I was like, yeah, I mean, I love this. I love when my wife goes away and being with the kids myself, getting the time with the kids.
Aren't you stay-at-home dad?
Yes, but my wife is around. She comes home at night.
Sure.
We have dinner together.
Yeah.
But when it's like I'm just around the kids, there's that dynamic that is only available when you're when you're just kind of like with the kids. It's like the three of you, or however many you are, however many kids you are. It's just like your little crew.
Yeah.
Do you find sometimes that your kids are a little bit better behaved during that time? And I think it's flipped. If when we are on tour or something and the wives are, I think they feel like they're a little bit better behaved.
So they were worse when you were on tour?
No, I think they're worse. Oh. They're a little bit worse when both parents are home and it's like regular.
When it's just regular order business, whatever that is.
Yeah, because I think, they're that much more comfortable to be themselves, test their boundaries, which they should do. But sometimes I think like they're a little bit sometimes easier to deal with when there's a parent removed. And that could be for an afternoon sometimes too, when you're like, I got to keep these kids busy or whatever. But like, there's something about, and I don't know if it's they just kind of naturally are there with you, or, and I might be sticking my foot in my mouth here and you're going like, no, it was horror show. But
no, it's not that. It's more like, I don't know the answer because I just throw a family-sized bag of Doritos and an iPad in their room.
There it is.
Put a chair under the handle and.
I don't know. I mean, like, but they go in and it's a little bit better. Listen, now, that's not to say that there wasn't bickering and I was trying to.
You kept your cool the whole time.
Yeah, and then I kept my cool the whole time. Yes, of course, there was moments like there's moments, and maybe it's me. Maybe they're no different. Maybe it's me thinking I just appreciate the fact that maybe they're not as insane as I think they are when I can ask mommy to handle them for a second while I take a break or vice versa.
Let me ask you this. Did you, because I don't just mean this for this weekend.
And they were on drugs the whole time.
Okay, see, thank you. Well, and I don't just mean it for this vacation. Do you do this regularly? Because maybe this is the answer. Because I don't, it sounds like you're right, but I'm like, did they? I don't know. But I'm wondering, do we do a little bit more activities when the other spouse isn't home. Not for any particular reason, but just kind of like, I don't know.
You're definitely feeling like I got to fill the time because I don't want them to be sitting around at home while I'm working on stuff because I definitely need to work on stuff.
Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Like, you kind of keep it busy.
Yeah.
That could be part of it.
All that to say, when we were in New York for a spring break, we fell into this mode of like, they were like getting tired of each other. And we didn't realize, like, we go to New York, we travel on the plane together, we're with each other, we're in the hotel together, we go to lunch together, we go to dinner together, we go to the aunt and uncle's house together. We're constantly with each other. Yeah. And sibling fatigue kicked in on like day 4, which is like, we didn't realize that. Again, in hindsight, it's like, oh, it makes sense. Like, we take them to school, they go to their separate classrooms. When they come home, my kids have their own rooms now in the house we live in now. They can like choose to go to they can choose to not spend time with each other. Yeah. Whereas like in New York, it was like they had no choice but to be around each other the whole entire time. And then it was like the nitpicking became that much more of like a thing as the days went on. And it was like, oh man, they just need a break from each other. And like the day we got back from New York was like, or the day after, it was like, you take one, I'll take the other. Let's go away for an afternoon. Yeah. And we came back later that day and they were like, couldn't wait to see each other and play with each other again. Yeah. And I was like, man, that's something I hadn't thought of before, that like, yeah, they might just need a break from each other.
So you think they needed a break from your wife?
That's not what I said. That came out of you. They came out of your mouth.
Thing.
Clip that off.
You got that aside.
Annie, clip that off.
You're saying you got that aside from the wives being away. That was the random tangent story you told.
It's just an interesting thing to think about, to me.
Very interesting.
Let's just jump into the dumb dad moments because their wives are away and I did some stupid stuff. My dumb dad moment is brought to you by trying to probably wear too many hats while the wife is away. Just considering too many things at once.
Okay. This might have been brought to you by last time your wife was out of town.
Considering what you just said, when the wife is out of town, you fill the activity board. Yeah. As much as you can. So you're like, I'm alone here. I want them to go to bed when it's time to go to bed so that I can go to bed because I'm alone here. Yeah. Right? Fill the activities. Fill the day. Do a bunch of stuff. Cut to, wife was away for 3 nights. Dumb dad moment number 1, they went to bed. I mean, they didn't go to bed earlier than 9 o'clock any one of those nights. Okay. Their bedtime is between 8 and 8:30 every night. And I say 9 o'clock to not embarrass myself on the podcast, but it was pushing 10 every night. Every night. Yeah. Having fun. It was the weekend. Mom's away. We're staying up one night watching something. Take them out one night.
That's what I mean. Activities.
Stay out a little bit later than we normally would. We went bowling and then to dinner. And then, we just kind of hung around and came home. It's 10 o'clock again. Yeah. Which is fine. I also think, to a certain extent, whether your spouse or partner is away for the weekend or not, kids need a routine. Kids operate best in a routine. But I also think it's important to teach them, like, once in a while, it's okay to stay up till 10 o'clock. Sure. So that if they're in a situation away from you, they can handle that situation. Yeah. Right? So our wives got back Sunday morning, Mother's Day, kind of like late morning. And there was a carnival, like, the carnivals that you guys went during the day. The carnival that like arrives in your local parks and recreation park that was like, as like we say, like to joke about Nate Bargatze's joke, that whole carnival was on the freeway an hour ago. Yeah. And they show up and unload and unfold the thing and here's your tickets. And you can see the age of this thing as you're sitting on it and you're spinning around trying to hold in your corn dog.
It works great.
Still works great. And it's very nostalgic and fun. But I was going to take them Saturday. That was kind of part of my plan. But then I thought about it because my wife knew before she left that they were setting up across the street, that the carnival was going to be there. And I texted her and I was like, hey, would it be okay if I took them now? Or are you thinking that you might like that to be a part of your Mother's Day? Yeah. And so we'll wait. And she was like, I would love when I come back, I would love nothing more to come back and like go over there with you guys like late in the afternoon or something. And I was like,
you didn't read that text as sarcastic at all.
No.
That sounds like such a sarcastic.
No.
You read
She wasn't.
so sarcastic.
She wasn't. Yeah, it's hard to.
Oh, I would love nothing more
Yeah.
than to go outside with you guys and whine about how you want an $18 cotton candy. I would love nothing more.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, great. Well, we'll wait. And then my wife came back, and I don't know if your wife was like this. It was like definitely like not the normal activity that my wife participates in, going out with the girls and like drinking every day and having like staying out late and being up till 1 a.m, when she never does that. So she comes home, we celebrate her in the morning, and then we open up gifts, and then I walk into the bedroom and she is out.
Oh, nice.
Needed a nap so hard,
Yeah.
which is a great part of your Mother's Day is also checking out and taking a nap.
Sure.
More power to you. Do it. But so she woke up and then it was like, I went and got sandwiches from her, from Jersey Mike's. We love Jersey Mike's. I asked her, I was like, how about a Jersey Mike's sandwich for your lunch? She was like, that sounds great. I came back with the sandwiches and she was like, out. I was like, okay, your sandwich is going in the fridge. Anyway, all that to say, she woke up late enough to where it was like, all right, I'm going to start making dinner. So I start making dinner. And she's like, I want to go to the carnival after dinner. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So we'll have a little bit of an earlier dinner, and then in the cool evening, walk across the street and go over there. And I was like, great. So piling on to my dumb dad moment was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the kids did not go to bed on time. And then Sunday for Mother's Day, we walked over to the carnival, and then we're walking back to our house at like 9:45. And I was like, now we're on a school night, and I have set this up to be.
They have a new schedule.
They have not recovered from the weekend I set them up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Monday morning was a little bit of a tough go.
Slow getting.
Like, daughter woke her up, went back into her room to get ready for school, went into there to see how she was doing, fell back asleep on her bed. It was like, hey, school day.
Yeah.
It's like, so I didn't do very well there. And then my second dumb dad moment was just because of all that activity that I kept them entertained throughout the weekend. My son wakes up that Monday morning and he goes out to have breakfast. And it's like, we usually leave for school. We get in the car by 7:15. That's our time. And at about 7:05, he goes, oh my God, I didn't do any of my homework this weekend.
Oh.
And he's looking at my wife. He goes, I didn't do my homework this weekend. And she goes, I don't know why are you looking at me. And right then and there I was like, oh, that's my fault. Because I never even asked him if he had homework.
No.
I was just set up for our fun weekend.
No.
Killing the time while mommy was away. Never even considered asking him. So he was just pumping through his homework.
Weekend
on the
homework.
on the way to school in the car.
He
got through it. He did it. He did like 2 pages in the 10 minutes before we had to leave, and then he did like 3 or 4 more pages on the way to school. He got it done.
Good Lord.
But the look on his face, and then the look on my wife's face when she was like, I don't know why you're looking at me. I was like, oh, that's on me. That's 100% on me. Yeah, well, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Whoops.
Whoops.
That's funny.
Sorry, pal. That's on me. Because there was definitely some time this weekend where we were kind of relaxing throughout the day.
Could have done it.
Definitely could have been doing it.
Yeah. Whoops.
Sorry, bud. But it's good. It was fine. It was fine. Everything was fine. They were alive when she came home.
That's not the mark. Okay.
It's a marker.
Sure. Yeah. Mine was, so I'll give you 2. One of them I posted in my
stories. Give me the top 2 of them.
Well, what I posted in stories, although it's funny because you left this out of your story, but you guys waited in some lines at your carnival.
Yeah.
So our mistake was that we went, and it wasn't really a mistake, but I will count it as a dumb dad moment because we went to the carnival and it was 98 degrees outside.
Middle of the day. Yeah.
Kids wanted to go. My parents were in town. My wife is away. And it was just like something fun to do. My parents love, and this was just perfect. They were like, what do you want to do Saturday? I was like, there's a carnival. And I was making, I was smoking ribs for dinner. So it was just kind of like, all right, we got this window. Let's go at this time. It's going to be hot and rough. Let's get through it. Now, on one hand, it was stupid because it was 98 degrees.
Let's go sit on a bunch of metal equipment. And
we did have to. Luckily, my daughter's smart daughter moment was we walk out the door and she's got a hoodie on. And I was like, you don't need that. And she's like, I want to bring it. And I was like, fine. You know, just like one of those parent moments of fine. Turns out
you say fine like that because you're like, okay, I'll carry it.
Here's what the thing was. I didn't carry it ever. It was a great idea on her part because then she put it over every seat because the seats were lava.
Yeah.
So she was smart for that. But it was rough.
You sat on the seat with shorts and had a little layer of skin left behind to go to the next city.
They were just long enough. And on the one hand, it was dumb for that reason. It was so hot. Here's why it was a smart, borderline not dumb dad moment. Here's why it was smart. 1, no lines. 2, the kids.
Dad take.
The kids. I mean, it's not dad take. That's an everyone take. Nobody likes the lines. Nobody likes lines.
I know, but that's your go-to. Is like that's a dad take.
So the other good part of it was because it was so hot, we let the kids ride pretty much as they wanted to. Before they were just like, but they were still wanting to ride more.
I have tunnel vision.
And then I just leaned over to them.
We have water
because we live close to where you live. So it was just up the street for us.
Yeah.
And then when they were just tired enough, they were having some cotton candy, drinking water, replenishing. I went, hey guys, you guys want to come over to our house? And I bring out the splash pad. And they were like, let's go. So like quite the recovery. Quite the recovery for our hero.
It's funny. I was looking it up too as to when we could. That Saturday that I was thinking of going, it was open at 2. Yeah. And that Saturday we ran some errands and we came back at like 3:30, something like that, and drove by it. And I knew it was open because I knew it was at 2, but I looked over and there were no rides going. There wasn't anything moving. I saw no people. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, who would go there right now?
Me.
And then later on, I saw that you guys were there.
I will say the heat was awful until you went on a ride. Then it was great.
Built-in breeze.
Even the Ferris wheel was like, this is really nice. So that was one. The main one, though, was brought to you by asthma. So my son has, I forget what the doctor called it, but like he's got asthma, but he's not taking like an inhaler every day. And my wife and I have always noticed about him. If he gets a common cold, he probably needs a breathing treatment. He just kind of like anything attacks him, it affects his asthma. He needs a breathing treatment. Then he's fine, and that's usually how it goes.
Well, he's in this window, which I think my daughter is in as well, where it shows signs of asthma, but it doesn't have asthma yet because you don't really develop it fully. But these are the windows of like when you want to pay attention to it, because if you treat it now, he's less likely to be like really asthmatic at an older age.
Yeah.
So the breathing treatments or albuterol when you need it, when he needs it or whatever, like so really helps him now for later.
So it's funny. He got sick and he was complaining, but it was weird because he was complaining in a way that didn't seem like he was sick. So we still went to school. The nurse checked. He went to the nurse. Nurse checked him out. Nurse was like, I think he's fine. It was great. Kept him in school. That was Thursday. Thursday night, he's like, he's having issues. Of course, now he's having trouble breathing. So we're like, all right, he's got a slight fever. So give him this breathing treatment. He stays out of school Friday. We take him to the doctor. They give him some breathing treatments, and they're checking him out. My wife's gone now by this point. Maybe she hasn't gone yet because we went first thing in the morning to the doctor. So she's still here. But we go to the doctor, and we get it all evaluated, and he's like, we're going to send this nebulizer home with you, which for those who don't know, nebulizer is like what you do a breathing treatment with. And I was like, oh, no, we have one. He's like, you have one like this? I was like, I actually have two. I have a small travel one. And I was like, and I have the at-home plug-in-the-wall one. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, great. So, yeah, just give him this. And he was like, do you have the – how old is he? And I was like, he's 6. And he's like, do you have the mouthpiece or the face mask? I was like, I have both. And he's like, he's borderline where he takes them. He could probably start taking the mouthpiece. So the mask is like what you've seen in like movies and TVs. But again, for people who don't know, just goes over your nose and mouth, little holes on the side. The air gets pumped through there so you can breathe in and out. You catch what you can. The mouthpiece goes in your mouth. Hold it in your mouth. and you're getting most of it. So he gave us, so I already had albuterol and I had the saline, and he prescribed me this new thing, which is like albuterol, but like slow release. So it'll like stop inflammation over time instead of like solve the problem right now. But he's like, you can give both. But you're going to give the new one twice a day, no matter what. I was like, got it. Cool. And so he, we're all good. We're good to go. Give him the breathing treatment, bring him home. Now I'm just kind of taking his oxygen, giving him breathing treatment. My poor wife is like, hates leaving this. Poor little guy's
yeah, go have fun. Go have unadulterated fun. Don't think about what's going on back here. He's fine. He's fine.
So I set him up. He's got a baseball game that night. I'm like, he has to play. No.
I don't have to strap this thing to him.
Yeah.
He's going to play.
I was like, you are going to run for the ball. So we kept him out of the game, which was a blessing in disguise because his game was at the same time as my daughter's game. And it was going to be one of those things where I asked my sister-in-law to watch one of the kids. And this kind of like blessing in disguise kind of thing where I was like, all right, well, we're just going to go to her game.
Yeah, you're not going to play baseball tonight.
You're going to sit with me. This is great. This kind of works out. So he goes with me. I bring the travel nebulizer, which is great. It's like a $30 thing. I bring the albuterol. I bring the mouthpiece. I make sure it's charged. Let's go to the game in case he needs it. I don't plan on giving it to him, but you never know.
Yeah.
And then my parents are there, so they're watching him. I'm kind of helping out on the field and stuff. My son walks up to me, and he's just like, Dad, can I get a breathing treatment? And I was like, you want some medicine? He's like, yeah, I want medicine. I was like, okay, yeah. So I just tell Coach, like, I'll be a minute. And I go out there, and I'm getting the bag and putting all the things together. I'm about to put the albuterol in, and I take the mouthpiece, and I put it to the travel thing, and it does not fit. Like, at all. It's like the exact same size as the other one. And I was like, oh no. Like this just doesn't, because the travel one didn't have a mouthpiece. The travel one was just a face mask.
Yeah.
And the other one I got from my at-home nebulizer kit that had a mouthpiece. And I was like, good, we got this. I'll use this. Just grabbed that, assuming it was all going to be.
So why would it not be? Why would these companies not just make it, plug and play all around?
And I was like, okay, so we just gotta stick it out. The game's already started. It's only an hour long.
Yeah.
And we will give you a breathing treatment when we get home. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, okay.
Yeah, you just stay alive until we get home.
He was cool with it. He wasn't wasn't wheezing, but he was like, okay. He was like
the self-medicating thing is so funny. Like, and the kids will tell you, like he probably wouldn't have said anything if he wasn't feeling like, I'm feeling like I feel normally when we get to and then the solution is breathing treatment. So he's acknowledging that, which is great.
Yeah.
My daughter is the same. Like she has her own little like inhaler.
Yeah.
That if anything gets really crazy, she can use that.
Yeah.
And we were decorating for Mother's Day, and my daughter had this whole thing where she was like, we're going to blow up a bunch of balloons, and we're all going to hide, and when Mommy gets home, we're going to jump out and say surprise, because she's not going to even think we're there. And she had that idea Thursday. And I was like, on Thursday, I was like, brushing her off. Like, right, yeah. Well, when Sunday comes around, we'll talk about the plan. Already knowing that, like, Mommy's not going to like that. But I didn't want to, like, crush her spirit there. Yeah. But I was like, Friday, Saturday, all this thing. Remember, Dad, we're going to have to find our hiding places. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then Sunday comes around, and she's like, we need to know. Dad, can you look when Mom's going to get close? Because we need to know, because we're going to need. I was like, here's the thing. I've known Mommy for a long time, and she does not like surprise moments. She doesn't really like that. So, and already disappointment on her face, and she misses you guys. She's having fun. Trust me. She deserves to go. She's having fun, but she also misses you a lot. And I think being gone for a couple days, 2.5 days, coming home to your children to make it seem like they're not there for her and they're not there might not be the thing she's looking for. And she was a little bit disappointed. And I was like, but let's blow up as many balloons as we want. And then my daughter just started like puffing balloons, like balloon after balloon. I was like in the kitchen, like starting to like do kind of some dinner prep, and like just prepping for, and then like decorating the rest of the living room and getting stuff ready. And my daughter keeps running out to me, balloon after balloon after balloon. And she's because she doesn't know how to tie them. So I'm like tying up the balloon, throwing it on the floor. Like it's probably like 20 balloons. And she comes in, she's like, okay, that's the last one. And I tied up, and she goes, I had to use my inhaler. I didn't feel good. I was like, oh, you did all the balloons. I was thinking her brother's in there helping her. No, she's just in there balloon after balloon.
Blowing out her lungs.
Blowing out her lungs. I'm like, good for you for getting your inhaler.
You. Don't do that again.
Don't do that again. Like, yeah, I can help you with that part of it.
Oh, man. Yeah, so we got him home, and then, and of course the game ran late. They ran an extra inning. Of course they did.
Of course they did. They got the time. It's late. Why would you cut it off?
I think it's next. And he's doing fine. He's not like, especially when the game's over, he loves to like go up to my daughter and, chum up with the kids. So he's fine, but he's definitely just like, I could really use a breathing treatment, man. But he's definitely like not doing good. And we just get him to the car, get him home, and then I give him a breathing treatment. And then I give him a second breathing treatment. And then my wife's like, you can call whenever. And I just thumbs it up. And I think 5 minutes later, she calls. And he's on his third breathing treatment. And she was like, I thought you'd call. And I was like, well, I just didn't want you to see your son on a breathing treatment. I didn't think it would take 3. Because I had him on his like little oximeter finger thing, which is like insane. Your wife, I think, bought us one for kiddos, and that one maybe is more accurate than the one we already had, which is just like a general one. The little clip on your finger tells you your oxygen levels. But like, they're reading his low, and he looks like they're low. But then I bring him, when I brought him to the doctor on Friday, it was also low. So correct. Everybody's right. Everybody wins. Congratulations. We're all winners. And then every morning I would check it, and it would be like 95, which is fine. But I would still give him albuterol because it's not great.
Checking your oxygen level through the little. I mean, we got him for COVID because it was like if you have COVID, it can dip very low, and so it was like $20 or whatever on Amazon.
Right. So my point is that he had that, and then when he went on Monday, I think that morning, I think I checked it. We didn't give him albuterol, but it's at like 95, and I was just like, He gets to the doctor, and it's like 98, and I was like, okay, it's better than nothing having this oximeter, but it's frustrating when you're just like. Okay, it's off by 3. That's a big deal. Anyway, but
it can change.
No, it can, but I didn't give him albuterol, so the fact that it would jump 3 was like, and starting the morning when you slept, it's like, I don't know. But it was one of those things where it was just like, I felt bad calling my wife and being like, "How was your trip? Yeah, you gonna say hi, Mom? You can take that thing."
When
off
she
your
left
face.
she left the scary thing, and the scary thing is still.
Yeah, it was a bummer, but that was the last day. He was fine the rest of the weekend. Like I did the right thing by giving him the 3 breathing treatments. Because then the next morning he was good to go, and then nothing after that. But that was definitely like, it was again not believing him, and then it was just Then not having the right breathing. If I had the breathing treatment, we probably wouldn't have needed 3. We still wouldn't have needed 1, but like that was the bummer. It was like, man, I thought I had it prepped at the game, and then you're like, you didn't have it. You didn't have anything for him.
No, you didn't have anything for him. You had a bunch of stuff that was adjacent to being prepared.
I had parts. But none of this is for the same car.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
why did you bring these? I don't know. I thought it would help.
Yep.
It's not going to.
But that's where we're gonna leave it for today. If you guys have a dumb dad moment, you just can write in dumbdadpod@gmail.com. You can DM us. We're at the Dumb Dads on all platforms. Thanks to Verdú on SoundCloud for the music of this podcast. Thanks as always to my lovely wife, Annie, for editing this podcast. Evan, do you have a joke?
I got one. We're going back to the well. Dad jokes 2. Oh, my God.
Let's hear it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ozzy.
Ozzy who?
Ozzy, you sneaking in after curfew. Ozzy, you sneaking in after curfew.
Sounds like a dad knock-knock joke for his
I don't know.
teenage
His dad
kid.
who's like 3 deep. I see you sneaking after curfew.
You sneak in the door and goes,
I can't see
knock,
it.
knock. And the kid's like, who's there? All right, that works. We'll take it.
It doesn't. But it will.
Okay, bye. Welcome to the world, little one. Welcome to life.
How do I stop this?